because it bothers me so much. And I was about to do it with the whole weed thing.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I made the joke being like, drugs are bad.
Yeah.
And then like every time people have like busted my balls because I don't want to smoke weed.
Yeah.
I've like been like, I was literally about to like over clarify it. And I'm like, oh, because I realized recently, I go, that's what's holding you back is your need to, dude, honestly, I got to go listen to Good Sam, Bad Sam. We're going,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Go listen to Good Sam, Bad Sam. It was like an accidental therapy session because I realized, because like they were asking me and I was being very honest and I go, oh yeah, I'm always just looking for outward acknowledgement and validation. Mm-hmm. And I go, if I just get rid of that, I'm unstoppable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit. I meant to hit them up to go like, thank you so much for having me on there. I don't have enough money for therapy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's literally my it's so funny because I do laugh because I love getting fucked up. Yeah. But my only thing about smoking weed is honestly the way I lose track of time. It bugs me and it makes me very stressed out.
With like I think the like how Pete loses time or like how like
no, I just like little shit. Like the last time I got really high, I was trying to sit down to watch a movie. Well, actually, there's two versions of this. So I tried to sit down to watch a stand-up special, and every like minute or two, get up, check the stove, sit back down. Another minute or two, double check the back door. Then it's like, did I? And then like I would always get fucked up and post really embarrassing shit. I would check, and like I'm like I can't focus.
Yeah.
And then the other time I recently got super high and watched a movie. I watched The Matrix and I was like, oh, I'm Neo. I have to save the world.
Yeah. I get you're like it's like one of those things of like, you don't have to convince me. I've tried it. It doesn't work. It's the same thing with me.
It doesn't relax me.
Yeah. I have no desire to do cocaine just because of the weird thing of like, even how sensitive I've found at one point. I didn't start drinking coffee until real late in life. I realized how sensitive even my body can be to like caffeine.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'm not fucking with like major drugs. Like I get it. I'm not. I am a fuddy-duddy. I hate parties. I like to go to bed early.
You like being amped up though?
No.
Okay. Then,
I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
well, no. When I did coke the one time, I realized I should have stopped at a Bumpski. Because I did a whole line.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah. See, there's certain things that you can kind of tell sometimes your body chemistry might not work with, but also if it's again Bumpski, you know, maybe
that's why I realized about coke. Bumpski.
Yeah.
Don't go past. If you're a guy like me, don't go past the Bumpski.
Hey, speaking of Bumpskis, we got a couple of fucking albums we're reviewing on this episode that are like rated the Bumpski peaks. I think
dude,
of the 80s.
This is why on No More Heroes, besides just watching the movies, like the things that the research era is like doing for me and to me.
Yeah.
Brother, I felt like a whole new Andy today.
I got to tell you.
I've been watching a bunch of stuff, taking notes, and I like put my notes together today, and I felt like a goddamn teacher.
Yeah.
Like,
I
have a notes.
Yeah.
I'm going analog on these.
Yeah.
I go
should
old
have a
school.
table. I wish somebody would mention that.
Yeah, I wish. Shout out to that no profile having Twitter account.
Motherfucking ass.
I called him out though. He
Post
said,
some shit, and then let's see if you got tables.
He said, "No, well, dude, I got his ass. Don't worry." He said, "Bring back the table," and I just go, "Bubba Ray's burner account over here." Got him. Yeah. Yeah. So long story short, it was real cool having
Lost
his
that
mom
follower.
suck me off.
Long story short, that guy's not following anymore. If he ever was.
Long story short,
burn him to death.
Long story short, I stole his social security information.
It was actually me. I was trolling our own account, just trying to get engagement up. But
then I hit up Pat later. I go, "Hey man, you should protect your stuff. It's really easy to get this."
Yeah, yeah. It shouldn't be password 169, password 269. That's all my. I mean, that's my debit card. That's my savings account right there.
Your passwords would just be like Chase bank account password.
One.
Twitter.com password.
Twitter.com patspassword.com.
So yeah,
but this is, if you like the research era at all during No More Heroes, you're gonna love this era of research.
Yeah.
Because we put it towards to music.
Yes, and because I
We
wanted
put it to music.
because I thought the research area of No More Heroes was so fun, I wanted to inject it into Drag the Lake. So today we decided
Great
to check
choice
out.
of word for inject.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna inject into Drag the Lake, and Drag the Lake's gonna inject you, and we will
Yeah.
be your fathers.
Yeah, let's chase the dragon together, kids. Let's go. This
Let's
is
go.
made for kids.
Yeah.
This is made for kids. Fuck.
Play
This
this
is made
at your
for kids.
birthday
This
party.
is made for kids. Kids.
Turn off Nickelodeon.
Share
Play
this with your friends.
podcast.
Share this with your friends. Kids.
Go to the kitchen and grab a couple knives. Theoretic
Butter
parody.
knife. Butter knife. Butter knife.
Parody. We're having fun over here.
I want
Dude.
butter knife.
You didn't even say no knife.
Yeah, I just said butter knife.
Just get the butter
That's a
knife.
safer knife.
You can't do one of those butter knives that have like the big U-turn on the top.
Yeah, no serrated edge. There's a little serrated edge on every butter knife. I fuck myself up with a butter knife.
Well, there's certain butter knives where I go, brother, is this just for butter?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what is this, huh?
Come on.
Yeah.
If it's a steak knife, call it a steak
Where
knife.
are we on the front lines of butter? Like, what do we got to do?
Oh,
here?
you don't have cool handle money? You don't want to be a steak knife? Well, if it's a butter knife,
That's all it is. That's the only difference between some butter knives and steak knives is a cool handle.
I don't know, dude.
That's a good
Have
point.
you ever tried to spread butter with a steak knife?
Yes.
How'd it go?
What if I was just like, not great, not good, Andy.
So yeah, we're trying to inseminate the research era into Drag the Lake, and we decided to go with basically just picking some albums we've always wanted to hear.
These were at random. Actually, you basically picked. No, I think I just picked mine around time frame, and I think
Oh, was your pick like a reaction to my pick?
Yeah, literally.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
When you said that, I was like, "What's around in the '80s?" And I kind of know that you can research.
Yeah.
Because I know we neither one of us necessarily knew mine. God damn it, Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, Rain and Blood. I'm pretty familiar with, but I don't know a lot of the real deets. And then and doing the research, even though I didn't necessarily love the album, little spoiler. But I actually enjoy these. There are some weird fucking productions.
Oh, really?
Notes for this one, which were really cool.
Well, how about we save that for a second?
Okay.
Because Rain and Blood,
Yeah,
it really
it did come first. It was 86.
Oh, okay.
86 is Rain and Blood. 87
So-
is Appetite for Destruction.
Researching Rain and Blood was very funny because it heightened that whole notion of like did you ever see that movie about the black metal bands and like Macaulay Culkin's brothers in it, and you I forget what it was like. It was all those like black metal bands that were like over in Norway, like burning churches down.
No,
And then-
I'm familiar somewhat with the story, but I have not seen it. No.
And then when you like learn more about the actual bands, you find out like they're all dorks.
Yeah.
And they're all just like music nerds, and they wanted to seem dark and cool.
Yeah.
So they like hyped each other up, and like, you know, don't get me wrong, they're burning buildings down. There's a level of degeneracy to them and shit like that. But there would be scenes where like at the end of the day, they're just guys trying to be like music elitist and come off cooler than everyone else.
Right.
And there was a through line with that with Slayer, because I was watching a bunch of interviews, and dude, I'm telling you, if you just heard their tone of their voice,
Yeah.
you'd be like, this has to be Hall & Oates. This has to be like they were it's so funny that like such an aggressive, because they are one of the most aggressive bands
Even in this album-
to this day.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, they are
Well-
unrelentingly anti-religion. They're anti-establishment.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're at least in their lyrics and everything. Like, these are some pretty gruesome lyrics. I know for sure they talk about Nazi imagery, not just imagery, but it's I can't remember.
So,
there's a specific doctor.
It's the first song, Angel of Death.
yeah.
And so that's the funniest part about the album.
Yeah.
That's the only remotely controversial thing about this album.
Right.
Everything else is just dudes being professional, having a good time.
Yeah, like killing it, and just in the prime of their fucking, probably not maybe lives, but definitely careers for sure.
So the thing
this is
with-
a pinnacle album.
The thing with Angel of Death is that was the first song on the album.
Yeah.
And for guys who don't know, Angel of Death, that was the term for Dr.
I can't remember his name. I did not.
I keep saying Dr. Moreau in my head. Joseph Mengele.
Mengele.
So Joseph
I knew it was a Nazi doctor.
Joseph Mengele, he was like probably top 5 Nazis just at Naziing. I'm not saying good. I'm just saying at being Nazis.
If you're ranking Nazis, he's one of them.
Like people would
one of the high ups.
People would be doing. You know how people go like LeBron or Jordan.
Way up here.
You know how? Yeah. Oh, dude, he'd be like, right up. What? Gay? Just gay? Just gay?
Don't do that.
Nazi gay? Nazi gay?
Don't do that. No, sir. Not on my podcast. That's where I draw the line.
It's so funny. Nazi gay? Nazi gay?
It's that close.
But no, Joseph.
Mengele.
Yeah, it would have been like the argument between like LeBron and Jordan.
Right.
Mengele, Hitler, who was the best Nazi.
Yeah.
Who was the top Nazi?
One guy's actually getting his hands dirty though. Wasn't Mengele actually like?
He was like doing an experiment. He was doing crazy shit, dude. He would like hang Jews.
Infamous.
He would like
butcher.
He would like hang Jews in front of his office that like other Jews in the camps would see when they'd walk by. He'll be like, "I'm about this shit."
Yeah. Hey, see what the last guy? Look at the last performance review. Your turn.
Yeah. That'll teach you for being all Jewish near me.
That's not a motivator. I don't think that's ever going to be a motivator. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even as a slave, I think I would, or like as somebody in a prison camp, I'd be like, well, what do you think this is going to do? This is not helping. I love that guy. He was one of my favorite guys. I got work. Yeah, bald guy, that guy. I don't know his name either. You took all of our names.
Okay.
47862 was fucking great. 47862 was one of my favorites, and you just killed him. So what's motivating me to do better?
So
I'm not happy to come here.
I'm not saying hanging up the dead bodies didn't work.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying next week, how about we try pizza party?
Motivated us in the wrong direction. You got a reaction, and that's how you know you had an effect. But I'm just saying.
They're mad.
Oh, yeah.
They're real mad.
But honestly, you motivate them the wrong way. They're starting to form alliances and Survivor.
Get this. This is new. They're complaining. No, I'm sorry. That was too far. That was too far. That was too far. I take it all
I'm
back.
just saying, this song is actually, like you said, this is not necessarily a haywire level of like confusion, but there's a lot of shirts that Slayer makes that I'm like, I don't know if I wanna
really?
I don't know if I want to wear that.
Well, see,
I don't mind the pentagram, but there's a lot of Iron Cross stuff, a lot of that. But it's just because of like.
Well, that was a funny thing with Slayer when I was like, I was like watching some documentaries about Slayer, and they're all just like. And I'm not sitting here I'm not trying to say Slayer's Nazis. I don't think they're Nazis.
No.
They made the argument on the Angel. So the Angel of Death song is basically, just the first song on their major label debut of just being like, what if the first song was just commenting on Mengele? Like there was even a quote from the guy. He's like, because people were mad that he didn't be like, what's the term? Disavow, which that is an annoying thing people do where they're trying to, I've seen it, they do it to like political people online where they'll be like, this guy you had on your show 5 years ago said some bad shit. You should disavow them. And you're like, well, stop telling me what to do.
Yeah, they didn't say it on my show.
Yeah. And he had the argument where he was like, oh, I thought it was obvious he was bad. That's why I didn't like harp on that too much.
It's very evil. That's why we're singing about it.
And remember when I described all the bad stuff he did?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is this funny thing with Slayer. I've noticed at certain times where they like in the one documentary I watched, they were very specific being like, oh yeah, we just like talk, like we're not Satanists. We're not into the devil. We just like pissing people off. And then they like have songs where they'll be like, Hail Satan, Hail Satan, Hail Satan, Hail Satan. And then they'll be like, what the fuck are you mad about?
God hates us all.
You're just
that's
like,
literally one of the choruses to one of my favorite. Like that's like a
their
later
album's called God Hates Us. The 2001 release.
Yeah.
God Hates Us All.
It's perfect. It's like it's one of those things of like he's like, what are you talking about? Why do I think God, I'm anti-religion?
Right.
What do you mean?
Why are you guys mad? I'm just antagonizing you.
Yeah, there's like what did you think the scream was at the beginning? It was me when I found out what happened when Mengele did all that stuff. I went, That was my reaction live.
That's his scream being upset about.
Oh
man! But so Rain and Blood.
I can't get that high.
Rain. You did really good.
Vocally, I can't get
You
that
actually
high.
did really good. You can get that high.
I can get that high.
Don't worry.
Tom Araya, you want me to get high in front of you?
So I took notes, so I'm going to read all of them.
Yes, please.
But yes, we're starting with Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
Third studio album of Slayer. Released on October 20th, 1986.
Ooh, that's close to Halloween. Spooky.
Ooh.
Spooky.
Rain and Blood. Where's the
Joseph
blood?
Nicola.
I'll take a Kit Kat. Ooh, king size. It's the first album of theirs on Def Jam.
Yeah.
Which was actually a weird. The band was not convinced. It was funny. I was reading a oral history of Rain and Blood, and the one I think it was the guitarist or maybe the bass. I can't remember who it was. Whoever King is in the band,
Kerry King.
and they were like, he basically just goes, "Did I listen to hip hop at the time? No, I did not."
Yeah, he's got real bumper sticker energy when it comes to like asking him his opinions on things. He's just like what do you think about the Middle East? Bomb them all, let God storm them out. Kill them all, let God storm, like that kind of shit.
Adios, amigos. He's
just
talking about Muslims. He's like, "Get out of here, hombre."
He speaks in gas station T-shirts. You know what I'm saying? Like that's his vocabulary. It's essentially those kind of bumper sticker kind of shit. So like when they go like he's I think I don't think it's him that's pictured, but like he has that Kill the Kardashians vibe. I think it's the other guy that.
Oh yeah, that's
Jeff
right.
Hanneman. I
so
think that might have worn that.
So the thing with them in Def Jam is they were on Metal Blade Records.
Yeah.
Which at the time was a small record label. And at the time, Slayer was getting pretty big.
Yeah.
They had 2 really popular albums and like an EP. They were like getting well known in the metal scene. And I guess how they were describing it is like you could just, you know how like with comics, you can tell who's going to like pop off. You can just kind of tell before they like really blow up.
Yeah.
They were at that point. They were like, we're getting to the point where like we are going to need a major label because we are getting big.
Yeah.
So they were actually shopping around to like a couple labels, because at the time Metallica had just signed to Elektra, which was a really big label at the time. So labels were looking for metal bands, and Slayer was one of those.
That's such an awesome time.
Yeah.
Especially with that brand of metal too, that's that thrash type of like early Metallica, like Slayer. Obviously, these are like the guys that kind of innovated that genre in general. In my opinion, I think this is definitely up for debate, and I'm sure somebody will fucking pound off in the comments. But like the inventors of this genre, this type of metal that we know it.
Well, you find out, and you can kind of hear it when you're familiar with the genre, but they were making the point. They were like, we basically changed the standard on thrash metal with this album.
Yeah.
Because he's like, after the album came out, it like changed how other bands would play their music. Because like if you're trying to be a heavy... not like a heavy metal band, but a metal band that's heavy and shit. He's like, well, you better play as fast as us, or you better go, or if you're not going to play as fast as us, you better go harder than us. And it basically made a lot of bands actually shift their sound, because it was a new. They sort of created a new tent pole for these are a lot of the key components of thrash metal,
right? Is like where we say a lot of bands like in No More Heroes when we talk about Apocalypse Now, how like it seems so like, oh, this is just this doing what every other war movie. No, this was the thing that where other people took this and was like, no, this is how this kind of metal should be played.
After I watched Apocalypse
This is
Now,
the standard for metal.
Yeah,
essentially.
That's the thing. They literally, and I know this expression is thrown out a lot, but they literally changed the standard for metal because this is a very there was an interesting quote where they were asking the guitarist, I believe it was, like how, what did you think made this album so popular? And he's like, I think it was just good timing. And listening to it now, I don't think it was that at all. Now, timing didn't hurt it, because obviously, like, Metallica a year earlier gets on a major label. Metal bands are really popular. It's the late 80s when people are getting, like, sick of hair metal and shit like that. So, and the time and punk's getting popular, which was a big influence on this album, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
He was saying they were listening to a bunch. He had to, like, convince the other guys in the band to give a shit.
Well,
he said he was listening to a bunch of TSOL, Minor Threat, Dead Kennedys.
That's
and
Jeff Hanneman.
Circle Jerks.
So Jeff Hanneman, it's really funny because how Slayer, the beauty of the thing that really got me hooked on Slayer was originally seeing the live a live performance of Raining Blood on MTV late night.
Yeah.
It was like Jack Osbourne was doing some kind of metal Headbangers Ball reboot or something like that. And it was that live version. I was like, man, that's incredible. But I saw Jeff Hanneman had a fucking Dead Kennedy sticker on his guitar.
I remember, yeah.
And I remember going like, what the fuck? And I found out really just legitimately how it happened was, I think it was Tom Araya, the lead singer and bass player, and Kerry King were jamming. They're big fans of like Iron Maiden, Sabbath, classic like good metal. And they were like, oh, we got to do something else. And they meet this guy who loves punk, but also metal. And they fucking, it's just literally punk and metal mixed. So that's how like,
they literally said that. I had that quote
yeah.
written down where they were saying, they were like, this out like Slayer and this album in particular is basically a bridge between punk and metal.
And that's what that was like. And I remember at least early on, I was really young, I think, when I saw that, and I was like always taught from punk bands and shit that punk rockers hate metalheads, and it's like, fuck you guys, metal's lame. No. I that was like when I was like literally like this. I'm watching Rain and Blood. I'm like, that's not lame.
Yeah,
this is one of my favorite
so
songs.
Fucking hard.
It's not only a great album, but it's like
well. And actually, you bringing up a live performance of Rain and Blood is what got you into these guys. Now, I've never been a consistent listener of Slayer, but I've heard a handful of songs over the years. But the first time I heard Slayer was in high school, which is going to be in the 04 to 08 range.
Yeah.
I forget exactly when, but during high school, I hear Raining Blood, and I go, that fucking rips. And thinking about it then, if you would have asked me, I would not have guessed that song was written in 86.
Yeah.
The same way as, like, when I was listening to this now, like, I could hear, like, we all hear there's a lot of hardcore bands now that are riff heavy, and there's a lot of obviously the like crazy fast beats you're not going to hear in hardcore, but the riffs and stuff in general, I go, dude, there's riffs on this album that if I heard right now, it would not sound weird. It would make sense. So that's the thing is like, no, you got now. Granted, yeah, the timing of it helped a lot, but dude, it also is just the sheer fact that it's like, no, you guys just wrote a timeless album.
When a sneak peek of some of the research I did. I listened to both of these albums while I was working out, the Rain and Blood as well as the one I'm researching, Appetite for Destruction. And I remember thinking, both of them, like, if I'm listening to both of them, or like you said, if both of them were released today or this year, I like one of them, I would not go like, what the fuck is this? This sounds terrible. Both of them sound pretty good considering over the years, but the Slayer one, I'm like, these still get me going.
Oh,
like,
no,
this is
Appetite for Destruction. I'm so glad you said that. Yeah. Appetite for Destruction sounds super dated.
It is like for as dated as Appetite for Destruction is, the one that came out a year before that, Rain and Blood, is still timeless. That if it came out today, I'd be like, damn, this fucking rips.
Yeah.
If they wrote like you said, most of the riffs or anything like that, even like some of just the straight up thrashy ones, like the ones where it's just like that's we've seen bands do that recently. What was it? Morbid Cross was kind of similar to this style. Not totally. Yeah, wasn't it Morbid Cross? Was that the one that we saw with Capra in Philly?
Oh yeah,
forever ago. Not recently.
I got the shows confused.
But in the past couple of years, like just that, like there's still bands that are doing something similar to this, and it's like it's because it's timeless. Whereas like if you're doing Guns N' Roses, it's just like, oh, what are you fucking like? Nobody's gonna like there. And there's so many things that you could take out that are like it's so interchangeable. Like whereas like this Slayer recording from 1986 still fucking rips.
Well, that was
in 2025.
Yeah, when I first listened,
it's 38 years old.
Because before last week, damn, that's crazy.
I'm 38 years old. I was born in 1986. This album is as old as I am.
I didn't think about how
it has fucking been. And that is being ahead of your time. If it's still ripping today.
Oh, so that was the big thing. You just reminded me again. Yeah, that was the big thing too. Where I had the same feeling when I found out Dillinger technically started in the 90s.
Yeah.
And you just go like, so I had the same reaction when I heard the first Dillinger album as when I heard this, where I go, wait, music sounded like this then?
Bro, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't I'm not like the way the album sounds doesn't surprise me, but when I go, wait, this was written in 86?
Yeah.
I did not know bands went hard like that in 86. Oh, and that was a big thing too so going back to like the writing process and like leading up to the early what am I trying to say? Yeah, like the build up to actually recording. So like you also got to think about where Slayer's head's at. And it was never like a direct, like they never like hated Metallica, but because Slayer was becoming one of the top dogs in metal, there was and then Metallica just blew up and shit like that. There was always this sort of subtle competition between them. And because Metallica was like considered the top dogs,
that's always the comparable one.
They made a point. They literally said, they go, we're going to out heavy and outspeed Metallica. So there was an active effort to go, we are going to be heavier and fucking faster. That was another big thing about this album, is because Slayer's written like, they've written at every BPM there is, but they made a point. They're like, we are going to be the fastest fucking band.
Yeah.
The average BPM, 220 beats per minute.
Their drummer Dave Lombardo is actually a classically trained percussionist.
Yeah,
he like teaches in colleges.
Well, that was the thing too in the
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, like you listen to it, like you hear like in 1986, who's doing double bass? Like I think about song like there's certain like the transitions that they do, the speed that they're playing throughout this. It's not a gimmick. That was a choice.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's
they were literally
they were just like, yeah, let's just do it faster and better. Like,
dude,
like,
they said they had to keep like just pushing Dave in the studio to be like, no, dude, faster. Fast. And they also do a little thing that I respect the fuck out, because a lot of bands, a lot of drummers when they play fast, rather than doing eighth notes on the cymbal, they will just hit the cymbal during the snare hits. So rather than like being like da 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 da, it's just like da 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 on the off beats.
Yeah,
dude, you listen to this album, he's hitting every fucking note. He's not cheating for a second.
What's the one that starts with a?
Oh yeah, I think I think they hit that on Angel of Death.
No, I think it's whatever one it is. It's like literally just him like hitting the bass drum, but he's just riding the bell.
Yeah,
but it's something like it's I think that's one of the songs. I believe it's the song where he says, "quote Praise Hail Satan." Yeah. Praise Hail Satan. I would say that's the only note I would at all say is just like some of the vocals, or not the vocals, but the lyrics. But again, I'm not ripping this apart. Like, look at it. There's a pretty clear message of what they're trying to get across with the album cover.
Well, and also too
and by the way, for a 1986 album cover, they're like essentially, I don't know if the PMRC had started or not at this point or not, but this is essentially saying, suck our fucking dicks.
Well, you know what was funny?
There's a lot of satanic imagery.
Well, the funny part, according to Wikipedia, some of the members, I forget which one of the dudes loved it out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then another dude was like, I don't know. It's kind of, dude, I forget. Dude, legitimately, he was like, he's like, whoever made that's a demented freak. I go, brother, you're in Slayer.
You're in the band. This is your album cover.
Oh, I'm sorry he made an album. I'm sorry he made an album cover that matches your essence perfectly. What the fuck are you talking about?
They don't have swastikas on here, but that's the only thing that's not covered in the album. There's a river of blood. It's raining. There's the devil. He's doing Baphomet or whatever the guy's name is.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? He's doing this
up down thing.
Hey, what up?
The goat thing.
Yeah.
So the reason they went to Def Jam Records is specifically because
what's all this devil shit? Get that shit out of here.
Man, you white boys crazy. Get that devil shit out of here.
You're white boy crazy.
That devil shit best be stepping.
Yeah.
When I show up.
But I guarantee you they're
you bring me that devil shit, I'm going to be on your bumper.
They play them. And they're like, okay, white devil boy. Okay. Just do that shit over there.
Wait. Play that again. I'm going to rap over this.
Oh, my God. I would love to hear that, dude.
Well, dude, you know what got me respecting Slayer as a little kid?
I want to hear people rapping over Rain and Blood. If anybody has a link, please let me know.
Probably.
If anybody from SoundCloud listening right now.
Children with face tattoos.
Listen
this
is
up.
made for kids. Made for kids.
Kids. Coco Mella. Oh no, but so the reason they went to Def Jam, besides being funky ass white boys,
no,
so Rick Rubin runs Def Jam. Known, great ear, knows nothing about anything.
Big beard, lets the artists go hog wild, and they just go like, really, you can just sing about Nazis? And it's like, yeah, do it.
How about you guys?
Sounds good.
That sounds great, guys. Why don't you do more of that?
Yeah, more of that, I think, or whatever.
Dude, I'm always, I gotta be honest, like, I basically look at Rick, because everyone always loves to be critical of Rick Rubin, because he's like, I don't know how any of this stuff works. He'll be in his, like, super expensive
He's like,
recording.
Pick up that thing with the stringies.
Yeah.
No, the other, more strings. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I haven't learned how to use any of the equipment at all.
Can
like,
somebody hit record?
But then, like, I don't know, man. He gets like
It works.
You look at his resume
Yeah.
and you listen to, and you're like, hey, man, he produced the greatest thrash metal album of all time. So like, whatever he's doing in there works.
Yeah, he did like his resume definitely it speaks for itself, but it's also like I don't know, man. Like the fact that like it held up so perfectly. There's something in his process that's working. It's at this point it's still not questionable. In 1986, the fact that he's like Beastie Boys, Slayer, it's like that's
Well, that's
range.
what I always said. I made the joke about Will Putney
Yeah.
of Fit for an Autopsy and bunch of bands. I go, if you're into metalcore, he 100% produced one of your favorite albums.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like Rick Rubin. If you've listened to popular music ever,
if you listen to music,
if you listen to music, he's produced an album that probably like defined your childhood.
yeah, definitely had an impact, or that you love or have a great memories tied to, and he was directly responsible in recording it or producing it in some way. So, like him being involved with Def Jam and producing Slayer at Def Jam is that's an interesting thing because he looks like a biker.
Yeah.
He's working with these crazy Satanists that love Nazis, and then they go to
No.
Def Jam. What?
They just read a bunch of books
Like,
about
that's-
him on tour.
I'm just doing my impression of Rick Rubin. I have no idea what's going on.
Well, no, that was
whatever
the
these
funny-
Satanists want to do.
It is so funny when like they'll be like, "No, we're not Nazis. We're just like into the shit."
Yeah, we just like how it's how evil it really does. So like,
I do. No,
it kinda-
I think you're
also seeing the imagery. It kind of it gives a lot of Marilyn Manson's
Yeah.
vibe away, where it's like, yeah, you just doing.
and-
They're doing it in '86, and you're like doing it later on in the '90s, and it's just like you're supposed to be this hellish guy. That's like,
Yeah.
we already did this.
No, and as a guy who's got a bunch of books about Nazi Germany in his Audible account, let me clarify. I'm not calling Slayer Nazis.
Yeah. No,
because
I'm
it
not
is
either.
too when you're into like that dark spooky shit.
Yeah.
It is like fucking. Also, World War II was fucking insane.
Yeah.
So the idea that people wouldn't want to learn about it,
Yeah, or talk about some of the crazy, insane shit that happened.
or
Yeah,
just like kind of get it.
yeah,
We're having fun.
yeah. We're having a great time.
Oh man.
Let's just say Kerry King's not shaving his head because he's balding.
But yeah, so Rick Rubin. So I saw things. I saw certain articles that were like Rick Rubin loves Slayer. Like the reason he convinced him to sign to Def Jam was he was just a big fan. And then I literally saw Rick Rubin being like, I never heard the band before the night I met him.
Yeah.
So I basically put two and two together and I go, oh, I think Rick Rubin was like, Slayer's the biggest thrash band.
Yeah.
I've never produced a metal album. I want to give myself a challenge and see if I can produce a good metal album. And hey, he did a pretty good job.
And even if it was just, here's the resources, I'm getting out of the way, he did a good job. Like, even if that's his process, like, I got to say, I can't give him 100% of the credit because I think Slayer had a little bit to do with it.
Well, see, you know what Rick Rubin's biggest contribution to the whole process was?
What's that?
Literally just being like, hey, why don't you guys get rid of all that reverb?
Ah.
Because he realized
That's cool.
it's actually like a brilliant decision.
Yeah.
Because like, and I was like, wait a minute, and I went back and I listened to one of the second Slayer album, Hell Awaits, and I go, oh yeah, the reverb muddies up the mix.
And that's what the Metallica's kind of sound is, like Ride the Lightning, is that kind of, it's just like reverb fucking central. It's
and
like
no,
crazy.
he realized with Slayer, because they're so fast.
Yeah.
He's like, you gotta make the mix real bare bones and not have a lot of extra bullshit, because the reverb he kept calling it blur.
Yeah.
He was like, I hate blur. I think they're never going to do anything good. No, but he was like, he said it creates blur on the song, and it felt validating for me because I've said this before about like hardcore metal bands, where I go, the mix is super important because you need clarity because they're doing really complicated shit.
That's what gave it the timeless sound.
Yeah, and you can't have because it's not just like they made a good 80s album. It's like, no, you guys sort of fixed problems in music production.
You made a great metal album in the middle of the fuzziest time in metal.
Yeah,
like the fuzz, like, or what was it? The blurriest time in metal.
Well, Rick Rubin called it like blur.
Blurriest time in metal.
Blurriest time in metal. Andy, write that down.
Andy, write that down. Wait, what?
But yeah, so just the little thing of like, oh yeah, and there was funny too. They said the band said they liked it because it sounded more threatening.
Bro, that's what I love about these guys. Like, so like they take something like Slayer's a pure metal band. They are metal as fuck.
Dude, I'm about to get to the purest, most beautiful thing about them.
But the fact that they also understand like some of the core values of like some of our favorite hardcore bands or in general that kind of thing of like, we want this to sound threatening. We want it to sound evil. We want it to sound dangerous. We want it to sound like whatever it may be. That's why Suicide Silence so many years later does And Then She Bled. There's so many like where it's just like, we want the most brutal fucking. We have this woman screaming. We have this fucking like the terrifying note, the notes that we're picking, the tune.
You want it
like
to
the
sound,
tone, literally the tone of it. Like,
well, dude, you want to listen to it and go, I might have to watch myself if I go to the show. Like, that's kind of the thing you want to get across. Dude, my favorite quote, this isn't a quote specifically, but one of my favorite production notes, and it coincides with my biggest complaint about Metallica.
Yeah.
But so if you know, you probably know, like, one of the things too that sticks out about this album, especially being an album from the 80s, is it's only 29 minutes long.
Bro.
Which the trend at the time,
I like that workout a lot more than Appetite for Destruction. Let's just say a lot shorter for that one.
God, it definitely would have been less critical if there was only 29
minute walk, perfect. An hour. Fuck. Sorry.
Well, no, so it actually, from a consumer standpoint, it was really beneficial because you could fit the whole album on both sides of the cassette. So you'd finish one side of the cassette,
play it backwards,
flip it over, and just start the album again. Because if you remember,
you used to have to rewind it.
You probably remember clearer than I do. But if you sorry,
I do.
No,
Footloose was one of my favorite cassettes I owned.
But legitimately, if there are youngins out there, if you think about it, like, you finish the cassette, you'd have to rewind it if you wanted to hear that part again.
Yeah.
So to be able to listen to the cassette, flip it over, start at the beginning of the album again.
Yeah.
I'm shocked more bands didn't like participate in some shit like that.
Yeah. And obviously there's this album in particular has so many different favorite parts of mine, but it's almost like from start to finish, this is one that we've talked about plenty of times, like perfect albums from start to finish. There's so many times that I love highlighting like parts, the riffs, obviously iconic riffs coming from this album. But in general, like, I loved the fact that like this was like it like you said, didn't you say something about these being songs that were like they were just like hanging around? They were like, oh yeah, we just picked a couple songs that we liked or whatever.
Yeah, so there were 10 songs.
Like, these were just like not throwaways, but not B-sides necessarily, but just like ones where they're like, I guess these like.
Well, so they sort of like fixed them up in the process of writing for the album. But I think all of the songs, Raining in Blood is the only song that wasn't like more or less finished by the time they started. All these songs, were more or less finished. They just sort of figured them out right before recording.
And then think about that. So like in real time, a couple of months before this album was released, I would assume, they're recording the album and they're like, that's a story I would like to see. So if they, most likely they had.
What's the story?
They either had the riff.
Yeah.
And worked it around, or they, like you said, if Rain and Blood was the only song that they didn't have finished before that.
Yeah.
And then they ended up naming the album Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
It's Rain and Blood, but the name of the song
Rain
is
in Blood. The song's Raining Blood.
Right. But they're like, It's like when a comedian names their special after their closer.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's like one of those things of like, that's the story I want to hear. If that's the song that they didn't have finished before they were done,
Yeah.
and it's the most iconic, and arguably one of the most iconic songs.
Yeah.
If you play that,
Everyone knows that riff.
People
Yeah.
are like, "Damn, I know the song." Like,
Yeah.
everybody, like, it's crazy, and that is still, dude. When it fucking hits, I still am hurting my hands on the steering wheel by drumming, fucking air guitar.
Well, the
fucking,
song's
like,
funny,
headbanging, like,
too.
it still rips.
The song.
I've seen them live, and they rips so fucking hard.
Well, the
live.
song's funny too from like just in the beginning where so it hits out with that crazy riff,
Yeah.
and then when it kicks in, you hear the like chugging where it's like and you think like,
galloping,
and now they're like, okay, we've established this, and once you start to get comfortable, they go tempo change,
yeah,
dickhead.
bam, 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 bam. And you're
Yeah.
just like, yeah,
Dude, it's such a roller coaster of a song.
yeah.
Oh, but so
That's
the
crazy.
thing that made me love Slayer so much more than Metallica and made them sort of like subtly point out the problem with Metallica is one of the reasons the album's so short is because they're like, well, I don't know why we have to play the riff over and over again.
Yeah.
You heard the riff.
Yeah.
We'll play
leave
it and
them
then
wanting
keep
more.
it moving.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, when they cut out all the fat, the album just ended up being 29 minutes. And it was funny too because they were like, so like
Brother,
normally
if only the Guns N' Roses has gotten that same
Oh my
note.
god, dude! And legitimately, I wish Metallica got that memo because I don't know how many times I've been listening to Metallica and I'm just going, "Wait, is it still the same song?"
Yeah.
It's like, dude, they'll be like, "Wow, that was a good riff. That was a good part. Should we play that 8 times?"
Yeah.
And then Lars is like, "Don't worry, I'll fuck it up every time." But yeah, no. So like the trend at the time was an hour, and I think contractually they were supposed to give the label 45 minutes, and they go up to Rick Rubin and they're like, "Is this okay?" And he's like, "Gave me 10 songs. They all got verse, choruses, and bridges and shit. That's an album to me." He was like more.
That's where Rick Rubin shines. Is
Yeah.
in those parts where he's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and I think
Like,
he
and it's
probably.
like, if they don't like it, I'll say fuck you.
I think he probably said something. He probably like, hey, 10 songs, that's an album. But he was also probably like, new. He goes, they're done. Anything else is going to sound forced.
Yeah.
That's where, you're right. That's where Rick Rubin shines.
And especially if you get like something as gold as, oh, we're gonna essentially theme the album's name after this track, and this is gonna be. You have to know when you hear that. That's gonna be, if you have any black people in the studio whatsoever, when that riff hits, you'll know how much of a hit it is because they'll do that. You don't even need to have the sound on in the booth. You just see them play. You go bum 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 bum. They're gonna go.
Yeah, that's like that's a riff that.
Stand up, run around. Like, it's like that is, everybody loves that. I would do that if I
Someone
heard that.
show them a magic trick.
Like seeing that, I'm like, I've heard.
Who's doing close-up magic back there? We're trying to record.
What the fuck? Oh, it's just a riff? Whoa!
What? No, someone's got to have a pack of cards here.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like that like, you have to know what you're doing when you have that. So like, if that's what you just got, you can't just keep going there. It's not like you've hit your peak. You're gonna only
especially
come
when
down.
the album ends with that song.
Yeah.
you like let it like also too like it
Maybe
like
add some more rain sounds.
well and also making it a little bit. It's why when we do panties, like I'm a pretty easygoing guy on shit when it comes to like creative decision making. But I was like the one thing I like really stressed. I go, no, we should every time we should stop it at an hour.
Yeah.
Because I go like they want an hour and a half from us.
Yeah.
Give them an hour, and then they'll get more excited for the next episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I noticed that, that's how I feel about podcasts.
Yeah, same.
I like when podcasts end a little. I like
When they have it in and out, like they have a set time.
when the podcast feels like it could go for 15 minutes longer. That's a great time to end it.
Yeah, yeah.
But another fun recording thing. They did it all overnight.
Nice.
It was funny because they
Brother, goddamn,
They could have done it-
So many fucking there are like polar opposites in our album reviews.
They could have
Because
done.
they're like, it took Guns N' Roses so much longer.
Oh no! Oh
Yeah.
no! I mean, I don't think they took forever to do it. I don't know how long they took. I more mean And it was funny because they could have done it whenever they wanted to, but they decided they started recording sessions at like 10 or 11, and they'd end around like 3 or 4 every day.
Yeah.
And they were just like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, I think it's easier to write metal when I feel like you have to write it when it's dark out.
Yeah. Yes. We've said that many times seeing it live.
Same thing with like comedy. I was like joking. I was like, comedy always feels weird when you know it's light out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they were very well rehearsed going in.
Yeah. Well, they're like
super professionals.
super professionals, and also not only that, but also like they're like again, orchestra like it just said, Dave Lombardo is like classically trained percussionist kind of thing. Don't hide behind your notes.
What?
Don't hide behind your notes.
I'm having so much fun. Okay, so
You're doing a good job, pal. This is great research.
After the album comes out, this was like the only real controversial thing, and it's not nothing, but like it actually ended up the funny part that it's not like a bigger deal is because it ended up helping them.
Yeah.
So they have the song "Angel of Death." It's about Joseph Mangala. It's not just letting you know what happened.
Just reporting the news, pal. Don't kill the messengers.
The president of Colombia, Walter Yetnikoff, Jewish gentleman,
yikes,
and he interpreted that song as being anti-Semitic. So he was like, "You're not releasing this album with this song." He was like, "You have to take the song off," and Slayer was like, "No."
Yeah, no.
And he was like, "We're not doing that."
Yeah, we did our recording. That's it.
Yeah. So Rick Rubin, Def Jam's the record label, but Def Jam's the label, but then it's like the distributor or whatever.
Yeah.
They got to go through like other places. So that's why he was the president of Columbia. And Rick Rubin's he's smart about it. He's like, we paid for it. It's all paid for. We just need distribution.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's like, he used that. Got that info out in, I don't know if Rick Rubin did it specifically, but that news just got out.
Yeah.
So then they just go, I'll just take it to Geffen. Geffen was cool. I think Geffen was like, yeah, we'll release it, but we're not going to put our logo on it.
Yeah.
Which is like, whatever, it's fine. You're going to release it. Who cares? But so basically they exploited the story that they're like, controversy. Slayer's new album. It's too hot for Columbia Records.
Yeah.
Had to switch record labels. And then that just like created a mystery around the album and helped it out even more.
Yeah.
It's like how when they were like, we need to put parental advisory on stuff so people know it's bad. And it's like all the albums that had parental advisory just sold better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
just because it was like there was intrigue.
Yeah. It was a big shift in sound. Yeah, and they didn't get a lot of like mainstream radio play, but the underground and like indie shit was just real. They didn't like have like any, from what I could tell, they had like no bad reviews.
Yeah,
everyone was just hyped on it. They did okay. It debuted at 127 on Billboard. It peaked at 94. Hit 47 in the UK, and then it took them about 6 years, and then they in December 20th. Of 92, that's when they got certified gold.
Wow.
And I said before, King attributed it to the timing, how it like retained popularity. And like I said, I go, nah, you guys just did a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a perfect timeless album.
This was a interesting thing. It's not the most. It was. Wait, let me double check my note. Oh yeah, this was an interesting thing. Afterwards, they went on a tour. It called it Rain and Pain.
Ooh.
Where they headlined. Overkill was with them in the U.S. Malice was with them in Europe, and then get this. After that, they did support. You want to guess who they did support for?
Megadeth.
No, heavier. Wasp.
Fuck like a beast. They had to follow them.
They supported Wasp,
bro. I can't. Poor Wasp. That's that must have been what happened to Wasp.
Yo, maybe.
Like
well, because honestly, dude,
how do you follow Slayer? You can't follow Slayer.
No.
It's just a thing where like even like
Even if you're not into that heavy music, their like talents expose how corny Wasp and shit is.
yeah, their lack of like, even though they do, they got the gauntlets, they have like pyro and shit, they have like effects and stage things, but they're not like wearing costumes or like Kerry King has gauntlets, but that's about it.
Well, no, so they apparently hated the Wasp tour.
Yeah,
you said they had pyro and shit. Wasp specifically told them they can't use pyro or smoke or any stage effects.
It's like, dude,
apparently Wasp like sucked ass.
We earned that. You fucking suck.
Yeah,
Wasp
and
sucks.
then so their drummer actually for like it only ended up being for a couple months, but during or it was either during or right before. No, it was during. He quit the Wasp band. He quit the Wasp tour.
Yeah.
He quit the band, basically saying he's like, dude, I'm on a major label. I'm we're opening for Wasp. How do I have no money? And so I think it was just like, this is the fucking third tour they're on.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was just stress, exhaustion, and, not getting paid enough. That's super stressful. So he quit the tour. Thought this was interesting. So Rick Rubin lives in like New York. This guy lives in California. He said every like 2 or 3 days, Rick Rubin would call him up to be like, bro, you ready to get back in the band? Like Rick Rubin did this.
That's pretty cool.
And he was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. You're just mad. Da, da, da. Like, and he would like call him all the time to be like, dude, get back in the band, until Rick Rubin eventually flew to California and like fucking talked it out with him, and then eventually convinced him to come to a practice. And then by the end of so in the beginning of 87, he's out of the band. By the end of 87, he's back in the band. Just because Rick Rubin was like, I'm not letting Slayer end. You guys just wrote the greatest album ever.
Yeah. And then that's honestly, that's the thing with like Rick Rubin. His outlook is something that I'll always support. But like his knowledge of like the things, his knowledge is great, but his like practical technical knowledge or like production knowledge is pretty crazy.
Well, and Rick Rubin shows.
I don't want the fuzzy stuff. Don't make it less blurry.
Well, Rick Rubin also too sort of reinforces it shows that there's like substance to our hate of hippies, because Rick Rubin on the surface has all the hippie things about him.
Yeah.
But we don't hate him.
Yeah.
Because he's like a cool dude.
Yeah.
And he does cool shit.
Also, he produced Slayer, so
So how much of a hippie can he really be?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just because you got fuzzy hair. But yeah, so that was.
Hey, Mangoa. Hey, Mangoa.
That's so fucking funny. So yeah, that's Slayer, and I got to be honest, from a musical standpoint, that's one of the best out. I'm not like I told, dude, I texted you, like I was like 3-4 songs in, being like, dude, this fucking rips.
Yeah, bro.
And it's like this. It sounds like a very timeless album. So I was texting you about Slayer, but I was also texting you about a different band that I had a slightly different opinion on. And it's the band you were tasked with researching. And I got to be honest, I asked you to do this for comedic effect.
Yeah.
And then I listened to it, and there was a little part of me being like, damn. I don't know, because like, I don't know if I should have gave this to Pat. Because the short version of this, here's my short review of Appetite for Destruction. No one should have let Axl Rose write lyrics.
Brother, it's so I realized something too. So like there is, again, this came out a year later. This came out
87,
but I might have the date here. But it came out a year after Rain and Blood. Do I have it? No, that's the more Doors bullshit. But yeah, I guess the Doors plus Guns N' Roses. This was not as offensive, I think, as I wasn't as offended. I was just as like listening to these two albums back to back. I listened to the Appetite for Destruction first, and as I'm listening to it, I'm like, there's just so like. The band itself is whatever. Yeah. Like and you know how like we always say, like you even said it for Metallica and Slayer, they set up a tent pole or the baseline, the framework for metal and going forward. Like all this is they just set up the next couple generation of mid-ass fucking rock band. Butt rock. Yeah, they perfected such a mid-ass fucking example that like people that followed that and don't understand why they're not famous are the dumbest motherfuckers
Dude,
on earth.
and that
because
coincides with what I
it's
got.
it's a fine album.
That coincides with what I got offended over, where
Yeah.
at first I realized I thought I was mad at the band. And then I listened to the album like 2 or 3 more times, and I go, no, I'm mad at everyone who told me this was a top tier fucking album.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It's nowhere even close
under
to
the,
this.
and I'm like, dude, don't get me wrong. There are some good guitar riffs, and it's a fun album.
Yeah.
And it's like upbeat, and like the guitars sound real good and shit like that. But dude, the amount of cornball bullshit on this album is through the goddamn roof.
Yeah, it's like the rhyme scheme, like certain things
What's
of
the
it.
song, Mrs. Brownstone?
Mr. Brownstone is a song that I think it's Slash, and I think the other guy, Duff McKagan, or another one of the members. Well, it's their cheeky little. Hey, you know what they did? Hey, there's references to heroin in this song.
Ooh.
This one's about doing heroin.
Oh boy.
So this is my main thing. So as I'm doing appetite for destruction. Sorry, I wanted to
You
actually
accidentally
get
open up Uber Eats.
appetite. I have an appetite.
Appetite
July
for-
21st, 1987 is when this came out. So, almost a year to the day, because that was October of 1986, right? As Slayer. This comes out, and like as I'm doing this research and like some of the fun facts I'm finding out and some of the things, one of the cool things at the time, these guys, they were known as the most dangerous band in the world, and no one wanted to work with them. Those are two statements, I would say, separate statements, and only one of them is true. And it's not because the first statement.
Yeah.
It's not because of how dangerous you
Well,
are.
dude-
It's the fact that you're like, heroin, alcohol, rock and roll. That's not dangerous.
Yeah.
You're a substance abusing
You're-
animal.
You're an annoying addict.
Multiple studio. They recorded this over multiple studios.
Really?
Yeah, this was like, it was like, for like when you're saying like, oh yeah, they did Rain and Blood overnight, like, and I was just like, okay, cool, like over the time, not in one night.
No, but it didn't take them a while.
Right. This was like how Slayer, the ones that are like, you can't release this. This is too dangerous because of all the imagery and the crazy subject matter. And they're like, okay, so we should have a nice schedule because you know what? it feels right.
And
at
guys,
night.
we
just do
should
it.
really learn the tunes before we get there because
Yeah,
that's
let's
professional.
be well rehearsed. Yeah, like all this shit. Like I feel like Appetite for Destruction was almost a polar opposite of everything. So,
Well, what I feel like you're about to get into coincides with like a lot of this shit where in the research era has really exposed this, where you realize a lot of this stuff like Guns N' Roses, they're bad boys, they're actually really fucking cool, and it's like, oh, that's probably was just their PR team trying to spin dog shit stories about them.
they're disgusting people. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
You know,
the band lit.
Motley Crue, in the Motley Crue movie, there's that like famous story. They're like, yeah, we were hanging out, and Ozzy Osbourne snorted a line of ants. I go, that's homeless people behavior.
Yeah, you're fucking crazy.
You're a retarded person.
alcoholic animal fucks. And you're not making good enough art to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's whereas like how like again we're
Animal fucked.
we're watching or we're listening to Rain and Blood and we're like, this is fucking incredible still, and not because of nostalgia. If you played this for me, if you played Guns N' Roses for me, I'd be like, yeah,
Dude,
I'd say the ones that are hits now, like Sweet Child of Mine, Welcome to the Jungle, like they're still good.
It's literally
they're still
the
good jock jams and fucking arena anthems.
dude,
Good,
but
yeah.
the fall off is crazy. 'Cause
But
I'll keep-
exactly, the Brownstone, Mr.
keep it a-
Brownstone, suck
No,
my heroin-soaked dick, you fucks.
Dude, I'll keep it a buck. Like Paradise City, Sweet Child of Mine, Welcome to the Jungle. I think they rip.
Yeah.
The fall off with to the
man.
other songs
Brother.
is crazy.
Brother, I don't even. I'm trying again. Like I said,
Dude, they're like a bad blues band.
for this. Oh my, that's a great. Yeah, it's just how. What do we say? Butt rock. We've said rock and
It's
roll.
like a jock
We've said
jamified
jock
blues
jam.
band.
We've said all these. They don't have a fucking identity because they're a bunch of phony ass addicts.
Yeah.
They're just addicts.
Yeah.
They're addicts that are. There's a couple. These guys had Wranglers, like whereas like Rick Rubin was like, "Do you, man?" Like, and these guys are like, they're like, the studio's begging for the album to get finished. It's taking so long, and for again. Going back to the research era for Nomo, we're talking about Island of Dr. Moreau, like what they got out of how difficult that production was. What they got out of this is like, that's, you guys should have been exiled from music for the rest of time. But you don't understand what's going on right now. Fucking year earlier, Rain and Blood came out.
Yeah.
That's a pinnacle of music. Then to say like, yeah, but a year later, what if we go, huh? She got me. Like, why is it, you're just all on drugs?
Dude,
you're all on drugs, and you're dirty, disgusting fucks.
There's an argument that this album ruined rock and roll music for the worse.
The band before signing with Geffen, who's back. The boys in GNR lived in a rehearsal space. It was small, vermin-ridden, and didn't even have a toilet. According to Slash,
Oh yeah, there's just 5 guys that can't figure out how to pay for shitty apartments.
like you're not.
And that's the thing, dude. As a kid, you're tricked into thinking
You're
this
a
shit.
bum. You're not an artist.
Yeah.
These aren't artists.
As a kid, you're like tricked into thinking stuff like this is cool.
Yeah.
And then when you turn into an adult, you're like, no, they're a fucking loser.
Brother, if you think about, you start talking about the 1860s or the whatever early times of like Victorian era, and you think about like all the clothes and the things they have to wear, and you just every single time, I think everybody does it. You just eventually get to a point where you're like, God, that must have fucking stunk.
Yeah.
Ugh. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're doing this. None of them are bathing except for every 2 weeks. This is 1987. Like. There's no excuse for this. So, like, vermin-ridden. When you say vermin, you're not being specific to a type of you're saying, oh, yeah, there's rats and mice and possum. So
I'm sure the vermin are getting offended. They're saying they're the problem.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. The joke was funny because it was so wordy.
So according to Slash, it wasn't much of a home. No fucking shit, stupid. He told Rolling Stone, I quote, I can't remember one night that we actually slept quietly there. Like, good night, Axl. Good night, Slash. It was more like, where's our shit? And wait, hold on. Where our shit was, and that's where we could pass out. End quote. It's like, yeah, that's not okay. So, so this is how we're start. This is before they get signed to the major label. This is like they get signed to the major label before making Appetite for Destruction.
Dude, this reminds me of where.
Well, how do they do that? Who wants these people doing? What are you doing business with these guys? The other guys are just saying historical facts that happen, and they're like, "Whoa, buddy, knock it off!" And these guys are like, "We're living in a toiletless hole." And also, like, do you have some change? They're like, hold on a second. Where's a pen? Get the fucking contract. Get these guys signed now. They're artists.
It goes back
before Appetite for Destruction.
It goes back to the fucking Doors movie where it's like people have this fascination with like an emotionally distant loser.
Yeah.
It's weird. And they're like, I want to fix them. I want to make them better. It's like, I don't know, coincides with, not that like Slayer didn't do good for themselves, but it's like when we're talking about Slayer and you see them peaking at 94 and then you see Guns N' Roses getting top of the charts. It's like, dude, we as a society crave losers.
Dude, I don't understand. It's something about, so like these guys, I wouldn't say like, it's not like a Sex Pistols type of like boy banding. But it's similar. Like there was a movement going on in if Slayer's doing that's why Slayer's doing support for Wasp, because these dickheads somehow take over and go like, this is how it should be.
Well, you also got a lot of,
and they're just like,
you got a lot of bands. I think I did read something about Slayer with this. I just forgot to write it down. But there was what was it called? The Examiner or something. There was like there was a newspaper thing that bands would basically put like wanted ads in, and it like linked up a bunch of bands. So you get a lot of these bands from that time who like didn't really know each other. Slayer got lucky because they all had very similar interest and personality types.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of these bands that are like talented, or they're talented for the time, but like everyone in there is a fucking psychopath.
You said something about Unstable Losers.
Yeah.
Here's something speaking to that. The album included overdubs of Axl Rose having sex.
Damn.
What a fucking loser ass fucking. What if it's fucking just me fucking? Oh yeah. Some accounts
Dude,
claim
that's
that
why-
Adriana Smith was the girlfriend of GNR drummer Steven Adler, who eventually drugged himself to death, who had supposedly cheated on her, while others claim she was a friend of Slash's from L.A. Whatever her true role was in the lives of the band members, she was called upon to provide, quote, backup vocals for the Rocket Queen Rocket Queen. Engineer Vic DeGilio, I think his name, Glio, set up the mics in the studio, stood back so Smith and Axl Rose could have sex on tape. According to DeGilio, quote, it was like Ron Jeremy. It was like a Ron Jeremy set in there. What a fucking unoriginal, dumb, stupid thing to say, you fucking
These
creep.
people are the lamest.
They're the lamest.
It's the lamest shit I've
That's
ever
what I'm
heard.
telling you. This is such a, like, as you're like, man, these guys are, it just seems so enlightened, and these guys are making this crazy, awesome, iconic album. And I'm like, this is also one of the most iconic thing. They did it in a windowless room with a toilet that didn't work, or Slash didn't know where his fucking guitar was.
I will give them a teeny tiny pass, because with the lack of access to pornography, things like that were more appealing, but
Yeah.
it still ages like fucking old milk.
Smith's moans were used for in the mix for Rocket Queen, and although she was enjoying herself at the time, the decision came back to haunt her. She told Rolling Stone, quote, I ended up drinking and
Kids
using...
found out I was a whore.
Hey, hold on. I'm glad you're sitting down for this. She was apparently using drugs and drinking at the time.
What?
Yeah.
What?
With those losers.
Pat, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, those losers those homeless people. They're until they get a major.
Here's the thing you don't
until
understand.
they get a major record deal, they are homeless people.
No. Here's what you don't understand. When you don't have a window, you don't know the passage of time. So you end up drinking more bottles of whiskey than you planned.
Wait, how much heroin did I do?
I
What
don't
time
know.
is it?
When did the sun come up and go down?
She because I had extreme shame and guilt and stuff is what she says. End quote. That's,
Dude, you ever read quotes and you're just like, I don't know. Like,
nobody thought this through.
well, no, you ever like read a quote from someone and you're like, I don't know if you have clinical depression. I think you're fucking retarded.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, this isn't like. This is like, again, this is substance abuse. It's enabling, but it's also like it's like this is just a bunch of retards.
You know what's a good move is to not hang out with homeless people who wear leather jackets
Yeah, or bandanas,
or bandanas.
or don't have a bathroom. If all 5 of the guys in the band don't really have a choice but are living together
Yeah.
in a place that he's like, this is not like a home. Like, I feel like I read that in the wrong thing. When I read that Slash thing earlier, it's almost like I probably had that realization of like, wait a minute, we weren't living in a home. There was no toilet there. Like, you fucking...
Dude, it's so funny. You realize with people like this,
What a way to make a career off of one fucking riff, you creep.
dude, you know what I just realized?
I don't
There's
hate
a
Slash.
there's a lot of people that having like a level of talent is the only thing keeping them from being homeless.
Yeah. Dude,
You like,
Steve-
dude, if like fucking Axel and fucking Slash and them
Yeah.
didn't have that initial talent to give them money to now give them a thing to make money off of,
Yeah.
the way they're acting where they're like, yeah, we just find a place and we kind of exist like pigs in it till we've overstayed our welcome. You're like, that's what homeless people do.
Yeah, you're not. I will say, arguably, Guns N' Roses are not artists at all. all. After this, so "Sweet Child of Mine" was written because Axl Rose was eavesdropping. One of the best tracks. So these are all fun little facts about the production.
Wait, like he stole the song?
So Axl Rose tended to separate himself from the bandmates, hiding away from their heavy drug use. So I could do mine in this one.
Well, I can't be over there. I have to go do moderate drug use.
In his room in their rental house. But one day, I don't know if they had a bathroom yet or not. He overheard Slash and Izzy Stradlin playing guitar together below him and began to write lyrics to their music. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're producing an album. That's what you should do. Listen to the song that they're playing and then write lyrics. So already. No info there. Like
is that not what everyone does?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and that's when he's like, you know what? I was like, so like one day, I was at band practice and they're just playing, and I'm just like, I'm gonna try writing lyrics. Like it's like that.
Yeah.
What have you been doing up until now?
Did you go to the bathroom when you had to shit? What else did you fucking do?
No, we don't have a bathroom.
Oh yeah. No,
nice try, pal.
But they did go to the bathroom, just not in a bathroom.
Well, yeah, we did that. And that's
okay, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
I didn't go to the bathroom. I took a shit.
Although the other GNR members initially thought the lyrics were a joke.
That rules. They're like, oh, these are clearly placeholders when you actually write lyrics that aren't fucking bullshit.
Like that's so
Wait,
funny.
what song are we talking about?
"Sweet Child of Mine." Like one of the biggest songs. Like that's arguably a great song. Like that's where the Broken Clock was right twice a day.
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like that. That's a boonana. She
got a smile. It seems to me reminds me of a childhood memories where everything was fresh and as bright. I'm trying to just read through to be like, what sucks so much ass about
It's an
it?
afterthought to him. They like that, or it's an afterthought. He was like, "Oh, this is awesome! I'm going to write one of the greatest songs ever," because apparently that's what I'm supposed to do. And then he starts doing it, and then they go like, "Yeah, that's good until we record it," and then you have the real lyrics, right? And he's just like, "Yeah." Anything good?
No, they do suck ass, actually.
Her smile.
Here's the second verse. The first verse is okay. Second verse is pretty rough. She got eyes of the... Dude, actually, because this is funny. Here, first verse is she's got a smile that, it seems to me, reminds me of childhood memories where everything was as fresh as the bright blue sky. So I like her smile makes me happy. That sounds like what a retarded kid would write. And now and then...
It reminds me of the bright blue sky.
Her smile makes me warm inside. Now and then when I see her face, she takes me away to a special place. You said that already. And if I stare too long, I'd probably break down and cry. Yeah, these dudes suck ass. I never thought about it, dude. And this is the second verse.
But it's
when
a
you
pop-
already have the first verse...
But that's why it's not a rock song. They're not a rock. They're butt rock if at best. But this is a pop song.
Yeah.
Because Sheryl Crow redid the song, and it makes a lot more sense because you're like, oh yeah, this is just a pop song.
Oh. But dude, with the knowledge of the first verse, it makes the second verse so much worse.
Yeah, go on to it.
She's got eyes of the bluest skies. Okay, so you
still said it's still blue.
We're
Got it.
we've already made this point,
Bluest
Axel.
skies.
As if they thought. Dude, it's like bad high school poetry.
Brother.
I'd hate to look into those eyes and see an ounce of pain. I don't want you to be sad, because when you're sad, I'm sad.
Yeah.
Her hair...
Smile, little sweetheart.
Dude, this sucks ass. Her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place. Dude, he sounds like a child.
Yeah.
We're a child I'd hide.
What? Were you hiding children?
So if people,
What's that, Axel?
So basically, if people touch his hands, he runs
So
and hides.
it makes me feel warm inside.
Dude, it literally, it's the, what's the
Your
episode
hair
of the...
reminds me of a warm place.
Whenever I
Because
get,
it's so fiery.
whenever I get scared, I hide in her hair, and it's like my safe house.
Hey, wait, no, please. Could you please just read those again, but in baby voice? Please.
She got just the second verse or all of it?
Yeah. All
Okay, I'll just do second verse.
Yeah.
She got eyes of bluish skies, as if they thought of rain. I'd hate to look into those eyes and see an ounce of pain. Her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place, where as a child I'd hide and pray for the thunder and the rain to quietly pass me by. Whoa, oh, oh, sweet child of mine.
And that's why it's a pop song. It's not a fucking rock song. So so that's what I'm saying is the lyrics themselves are again mid as fuck, right?
Yeah.
Like they're very simplistic. They're like eyes are blue.
Wait, real quick.
Hair's warm. face good, me feel nice. But it's also like, but if you put that into a pop song, again, with Sheryl Crow doing it, Sheryl Crow, if Sheryl Crow does it,
I wrote a song for you.
and it's like, and her doing like this fucking like that, it's a Big Daddy soundtrack.
Wait, you gotta hear. Sorry, I really want to do Slayer and baby voice now.
Are you gonna do the Mangala?
Come on, dude. Yeah, dude. Angel of Death. Auschwitz, the meaning of pain, the way I want to die. Slow death, immense decay, showers that cleanse you of your life. I gotta be honest. Wait a minute. Forcing like cattle you run, stripped of your life's worth, human mice for the angel of death. All right.
I can't do baby voice for this.
I gotta be.
You guys win.
Now I gotta be honest. It's still art, but the misunderstanding.
Hey.
Slightly fair.
Andy, don't interrupt me when I'm reading
Ow.
the lyrics of the most dangerous band in the world.
You don't. Get,
Okay, bud.
No, you don't get it, dude. They're difficult and on heroin.
And they haven't gone to the bathroom at all. We think.
They're so dangerous.
They're so dangerous and smelly. So Sweet Child of Mine became a massive hit. According to Slash, quote, if Axl hadn't been writing those lyrics, chances are that song would never have existed. Yes, because he's the lyricist and you're the band. If they didn't have lyrics, did they put out any instrumentals? I don't think so. So another good fact, fun fact here. Frustrated with his guitar, Slash chucked it through a window. So they did get a window eventually. The members of Guns N' Roses worked.
No, Slash, that's new.
It won't bounce off. I'm gonna do a guitar bounce now. Bing, bong.
No, Slash, don't slow Axl's blocks.
Members of Guns N' Roses all worked extremely hard to produce the debut album. While the debut album, they don't have an album, Andy, and they're doing all this bullshit.
Yeah.
This isn't artist antics. This is homeless person behavior.
It's so funny. It's like, hey,
Dude, they're homeless people.
wait a minute. Do you guys live in a closet? You don't have anything to
Yeah.
show for yourselves?
Hey, you got a bathroom in your house?
do you want $1 million?
Sign to Geffen. That like a Slayer was like, oh God, I guess we're gonna have to find somebody. Hopefully, and Geffen was like, oh yeah, we'll help you out.
Well-
but like they're also at like a year later, they're either so confident in their decision making, be like, wow, we trust those weird Nazi Satanists. So I guess we'll go with the heroin addicts that are living in a fucking a windowless, bathroomless practice space, and they go like, oh window, oh shit.
I will say this, I feel like I read somewhere that Guns N' Roses was like pretty big in the like nightclub scene at the time.
like that scene, the Viper Room, or like the whole Hollywood Strip bullshit,
Yeah.
like all that, like that. But that's the same thing. It's like, but look at the standard that they're Motley Crue's around the same time. Fucking
Yeah.
they're just dickhead butt rock fucking crazy creep weirdos.
True, yeah.
So like, if that's the standard, these guys are like the Pearl Jam of those guys. Like
Dude,
these
bro,
are the deep dudes.
Dude, with all the fucking drugs
This is-
with all the fucking drugs they do, they should be called the not standard, can't standard. Fuck, God damn it.
It's okay. Hey, I'll give you
Can't standard. I should have said can't first. No, I didn't earn it.
All right. Well, let's get back to Slash hucking his guitar out the window. Members of
Good
Guns N'
old
Roses. They worked extremely. I don't think it shows, by the way. I don't agree with the statement. This is not technically part of my notes. I looked up a lot of fun facts with the production thing, so there's some screenshots here, some personal memories, but I do not agree with this statement. I just want to be on record to say they worked all extremely hard on to produce their first album, while that shows in the quality and timelessness of Appetite for Destruction. I don't agree with that. Those are not my words. The process was difficult for everyone involved. Axl Rose would come in 18-hour days, and Slash had his own personal sessions to perfect his solos. I guess he was very shy.
That to me just shows that they weren't like good at it.
Yeah. Yes. This was forced.
Yeah.
The whole thing was forced, and they happened to get a couple hits out of it.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you had them all like work above their level of talent that they had.
So Slash's frustrations ended with his rented Gibson SG came to a peak. What the fuck is that? And he hurled his guitar through a van window. So it wasn't never got a window. So it's the van.
They still live in the closet.
Yeah. Their own they had everyone obviously they all had their personal demons. Substance, I don't know if you know this. Substance abuse was a major factor with the GNR lifestyle.
What?
Slash, Izzy Strandland, and Steven Adler all struggled with heavy drug use throughout the making of Appetite for Destruction. Meanwhile, bassist Duff McKagan was drinking too much. That's a quote. Well, according to the A&R rep, it's just like, they like, how's the record coming? Well, Duff McKagan is drinking too much.
Yeah, I think a lot of this
that's the note.
Well, I think a lot of this shit starts happening because one, it's the 80s and Coke isn't bad for you yet, and it's like, you know, everyone's all about excess and shit. And then you mix that with the fact that you have these guys that the only thing keeping them together is that they have to go to some sort of day job sometimes to make some money. And now you go, okay, well, now you guys are rich. And you don't have to do anything during the day except play tunes.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, I'm drunk every night on stage, so I can be fucked up when I do this music.
Right.
So you're just fucking speed running them into heroin addiction.
That's what I was saying earlier with the Doors thing when we were talking about him. Like, it's like you get a couple good takes because like they're just taking this weird, like, again, broken clocks into the studio every night and just going like, we gotta get something out of this. Like,
yeah.
And like, I really feel like personally listening to this album, you could put any vocalist at the front of this band and it would not matter. I would actually prefer if they had the guy from Soundgarden in this band. Like, I feel like he's the perfect. I would love to find great utility frontmen.
What's his name again?
I honestly, I don't think I've ever known it.
Chris Cornell.
Yep, that's it. I knew it.
You know the conspiracy with him?
The jerk joke?
No, the
Was he doing a pedophile documentary or something?
yeah, it's completely made up.
Yeah.
It's so funny because they say like
That did happen with somebody though, didn't it? Or
I
is that just
forget
everybody?
exactly? But no, it was Avicii, Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, and one other guy.
Yeah.
Because they all died from suicide. So like someone just made up that they were all working on a pedophile documentary.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember I was like, "That's crazy," and I looked into it and nothing comes up.
No. So I think he's a good example of this just because like he's another person that has, in my opinion, I'm sure they're really deep, and I'm sure a huge Soundgarden fan or Audio Slave fan will let me know. But he has those kind of like blanket lyrics that don't mean anything. They just are just like weird poetry
Talk
shit.
about Cornell.
Yeah. So like I think he would have been a way better. I would have
Who's
let.
the lead singer of? Sorry,
What?
I'm ADD right now. Who's the lead singer of Velvet Revolver?
That is the other guy, the from Jane's Addiction, I think.
Oh,
Isn't
okay.
it?
God damn it! I'm so happy this type of thing's over. Look at how much they all suck ass,
Bro, I it's like that group. They're still look, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Axl Rose wasn't interested in drugs at all. Actually, did you know that?
Scott Weiland.
Scott Weiland, that's it.
Okay, because the only reason I like stopped, I was like, I thought he was in a band with Slash.
Yeah, well, he was, yeah. But that's the thing. It's like they all like, and you mix them all up, and it all has the same. That was
that's a good point.
Snake Bite or Snake Pit or something like that. Slash's Snake Pit, and there's
Yeah.
So he Axl would oftentimes in the rental house. He was all but destroyed. He would lock himself away from the madness, and he was surprised to see Axl was living quite differently than the others. Quote, sorry, there was a yeah, there was this padlocked door. This guy Zatuet recalled. This must be somebody doing the article here. You go inside, and there was Axl in this immaculate, perfect room surrounded by all this squalor. That was a dichotomy of Guns N' Roses. So, like, however, Axl still had his demons. His came from the form of mental illness. He had been diagnosed with manic depressive and and was suspected of also having multiple personality disorder. According to manager Vicky Hamilton, quote, he has this very likable little boy personality. She got the perfect blue skies and warm hair.
I want to hide in the hair.
And then he has a demon dog from hell personality. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, and
I'm an animal now.
I'm his manager, and I'm going to put so many resources into making this dog shit person famous.
This is part of the quote. The
Like-
color of his eyes even change when he goes into different person. So like he's an animal.
Can I throw this out there? And now I didn't do research, so I'm just speculating. That didn't happen.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, you probably are just it's a better lit room. Now.
Yeah, or you just made that up.
Yeah, you could just be a lying asshole.
Are you a stupid idiot? Is that why you said that?
Are you a stupid fucking idiot?
Hey, did you say that because you're a dumb fuck?
So this was a very popular album, like we know. Over 30 million copies were sold.
God damn.
It is also one of the best-selling albums worldwide.
30 million's so funny because like you'll hear in like a lot of the bands we love to talk about, and you'll hear some shit that'll be like, brother, we sold 50,000 first week. That was the greatest thing ever. And you're like, it is though.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just, you don't, because I don't, well.
If you can keep those 50,000s building up, though, that's
I
where...
wonder, like these artists who are fucking bigger than God, like the Billie Eilishes and shit like that. You just see them everywhere. Like obviously the like when you see Drake, he's got more number ones than the Beatles, and I'm like, yeah, but those are like streaming number ones. I was like, I can't tell how you're like calculating it if it's a fair 1-to-1 on the album and stuff. And I'm like, would bands now really hit those numbers now? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's really hard to what are the real, we have to figure out one specific metric that we can all, but there's so many different streaming things. There's so many different, like you either go streams or you go YouTube clicks or some bullshit. Like
I think they just need to sort of find a like what is it? 8 BC AD.
Yeah.
Basically, there's this time period where we were more lenient on physical sales, and then there's clearly this time period where streams matter.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, you can't put, and I don't know who I'm shitting on more though, but it's like you can't put up Drake's and the Beatles numbers in the same bracket. It's just not, because there's a lot of people who would casually listen to Drake who are never going to go physically buy an album.
Yeah. Yeah,
and then also, there's a lot of people who wouldn't buy the Beatles if there were more than 2 genres back then.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I would, if you did,
It's
you
hard
had
to
no
tell
other
who's
choice.
bigger. Sorry.
And, well, no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I picked the album I did for you to do research on after you were talking about Appetite for Destruction. I was like, what's something around that area? Because like that's what I'm saying is like this kind of behavior and this kind of bullshit is like, so the reputation that they have for being the most dangerous band in the world is just basically because of their fucking drug use and the fact that they're mentally ill or inebriated. Like that's what you have. You either have the lead singer who will show up hours late to gigs, all this shit. And like that's the thing is like they didn't get better the more famous they got. So before they're even famous, you're enabling them. You're paying for their house. They have a group home they're all living at. You're you're giving them fucking studio time. You're doing all this other bullshit. And even when it was released, like even though it is one of the most successful albums now, the critics didn't. They were originally ambivalent towards the album.
Really?
Yeah, it was received has received retrospective acclaim, and been viewed as one of the greatest of all time. But at the time, they were like, yeah, like obviously it got bigger, but like the like them going like, this is how it's gonna sound, baby. Like they're just like, all right, like you know what I mean? Like I think that was just kind of like maybe, but all right, I guess that's what we're headed for. But so the studio was always sacred, though. Apparently. There was certainly no shortage of drug usage during the making of Appetite for Destruction. However, that stopped at the studio door.
I'm sure it did.
Mike Klink was the band's producer and engineer, laid down the law and made sure, hey, buddies, all members of the band knew that the studio was sacred no matter what happened on the outside. According to Slash, Klink's request that was respected, quote, we partied real hard. Lame. But when we were in the studio, we were pretty much together.
So funny.
The
Also,
guitarists
though-
were called "There Was No Doping" and all that stuff.
Dude, also the older I got, the more I realized when people are like, dude, we partied so hard, and you just think about that and you think it's gonna be all this wild and crazy shit. And you go, you know what partying hard usually means? We did a lot of shots and everyone yelled for the conversations.
Yeah. Everybody yelled. Nobody retained anything, and everybody just got.
You watch people speak truthfully for the first time in their life.
Yeah.
And yeah, but if you said any of that shit, they'd freak the fuck out.
12 songs, 53-minute runtime. It is a slog. I will tell you right now, it was not very fun for me. The original artwork, this is actually a pretty cool story about this, though. The original artwork for Appetite for Destruction was featured which featured a graphic Robert Williams painting. The image depicts a woman raped by
Mrs. Doubtfire.
and it's a woman raped by a robot, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, while a monster comes down from the sky. I'll show you a picture in a second. To seek revenge. While lead singer Axl Rose was passionate about the artwork, it was too controversial for the record label. It was changed to skulls and the cross design after the first batch of records were sold. According to A&R rep Tom Zatuat, that's the guy, Rose predicted the, quote, fake news and trend during the making of Appetite for Destruction. In a rare interview with LA Weekly, he recalled the day Rose showed up with showed him the robot rape art. Axl showed me a card with the Williams painting and said, "You realize this is the future."
Robots raping women.
Then he pointed to the woman. This is the victim. This is the media. And then above them is the monster the media creates. He predicted in 1986 that we were going to live in a world of, quote, fake news, where we'd feed on tragedy. It depicted a human nature and ugly need we have for appetite for destruction.
That didn't happen. None of that ever happened in the 80s.
That is a retrospective that is, I'm going to say right now, allegedly 100% a horse shit.
It's all, no,
friend.
It's stupid.
That didn't happen.
It's also stupid.
And it's stupid. Right. It's a
It's
stupid lie.
They'll be like, I predicted fake news.
What?
You predicted that the media would be disingenuous about facts?
One thing I didn't predict was, if this is such a prolific and
What are you talking
groundbreaking
about?
album, how come I found some possible plagiarism? Are you ready for me to... I got a breaking news story that is going to come all over your face.
Wait, do you have the album cover?
Oh, yeah.
The rape robot? I do really want to see that. No, it's... I didn't mean to blue balls you. Because I just need to... Wait. Yeah. So he just... That's the...
Hold on. That's the woman.
Yeah.
That's the media.
And then, so she got raped by that robot, and then the media up top. It's so.
Is that a tit?
So
Yeah,
this is the thing I find fascinating, because it's like, this is the album cover. It's some like high level nerd shit.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you put on the album, and it's like, me and the boys are gonna have a shot of whiskey.
Mr.
Brownstone.
You got some warm ass hair, baby boy.
Yeah.
Look at that warm hair and them blue eyes, baby.
That's the kind of shit too, where it's like, it's one thing for like Slayer to go like, dude, you're not bullying us into taking a song off. It's another thing to be like, hey Axl, we want to get famous. Can you not give us the fucking weirdest, most retarded album cover that has nothing to do with the album?
That's a year before that.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right.
That's why it's like, dude, you just gotta figure out how you're good at stuff. Like, if you're an art, and I'm saying this as someone who does not identify as an artist. I'm a lover of art. But like, people who are artists, you have to realize like what rules about you.
Yeah.
Don't
And
figure
that's
out
what- that's
don't
what
figure
we're-
out how to fit into the current thing. Just figure out what about you is awesome.
They're essentially buskers. You know what I mean? They're homeless guys that have skills, except for, in my opinion, except for Axl Rose. And there's just this weird thing where like, they were just wrangled into coming up with something that the studio was going to be able to sell.
Well, it's guys
And then
like
for some reason they're like, this is where they drew the line. You're allowed to do as much heroin as you want as long as it's not in the studio.
well, if you mix this with the fact that like this band also is kind of a bunch of like drug addict retards, but they do have talents to them where it's like, you know, Axl Rose, I do agree you could interchange any rock singer into this band and it'd be fine. That being said, I do think he has a fairly good voice. I think the guitar tone on this album rips.
Yeah.
There's good riffs. Like
Yeah.
the drumming's solid.
It's like that's why I said at the
There is
beginning,
an
it's a fine album.
There is an interchanger. There is, though, an interchangeable element to every band member now that I'm saying it. But I
Yeah.
think what happened is, like I said before, if these guys weren't discovered, they would just be homeless guys or they'd be like fuck-ups working at like a bar. Not saying people who work at bars are fuck-ups, but they would be the fuck-ups working there. I think what happens is there's the way that it's like I don't view myself as an artist. I view myself as a guy who kind of like can sort of see the bigger picture on things and understand that and relay that. There's also a class of people in this world that they see a train wreck and they go, I know how to become rich off of this train wreck. And I think
Right.
that's what happens with a band.
Yeah.
Like a band like Guns N' Roses, people go, oh yeah, I know they're a problem, but I know how to become a millionaire off this by next year.
You know how like Slayer took that one controversy about that thing and used that to their advantage? That's like all of what Guns N' Roses is.
entire career.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
This thing is really hot. You guys can bare minimum do that thing.
Well, dude.
So perfect. We'll throw you in and you'll become just by like that's what I'm saying. That's why I compare them to the Sex Pistols because it feels very much like if they weren't already a band, I would completely be convinced that a studio found 4 homeless guys and said,
Yeah.
like, we're going to just train you how to do this stuff, put you in these tight pants, and then you're going to go do that. Just like as a flex.
Yeah.
But this was my thing. So
Oh yeah.
as I was listening to Appetite for Destruction deep into the album, I think it was like the second to last song.
Wait, what was the moment you bailed on the album first time?
I didn't. I just listened to it all the way through. I didn't stop.
Really? You
Yeah.
didn't like take a break?
I only listened to it like maybe 1.5 times. But
Dude,
like,
I
that
gotta-
was that one time. The first time was all the way through nonstop.
I literally I was texting you like 2 songs in when
Yeah.
I first texted you to be like, this is butt rock horseshit.
Yeah.
And then I literally, Mr. Brownstone, I go, fuck you guys.
Yeah, this is so
I gotta take a
stupid.
break.
So this is a song. It's called "Anything Goes," and like again, mind you, this is a year after
Except
Slayer
that album cover.
came out. Oh yeah, do it. Yeah, that's the good album cover. The one that you all know. The scroll.
Which, if, by the way, which I want you to play it and everything, but if you're watching this on YouTube and this gets blocked, you'll be able to hear the whole thing on Spotify.
Yeah, it'll be. It's essentially. I'll tell you even the moment. Just play the song. Anything Goes from the 2:15 mark, or sorry, 2:50 mark, and play it for like a couple seconds. You'll hear something, in my opinion, that came out a little familiar and a little bit. I don't know, maybe where they got this idea. Let's see. Now, if you're saying, huh, that sounds a little familiar, let me play you a little ditty from a song called Raining Blood. Not the same.
Can you play the original again? Or the, not the
I just did play the original, Andy.
You know what
Nice
I meant.
try, dickhead.
Oh, shit. Axel, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, baby, I'm out of here.
Oh, Pat, on to us, baby.
But then I was like, they're like, I swear to God, you.
Pat figured us out. We're going to die.
I'm on to you. Almost 37 years later.
We're
So-
at Pat's house. You're going to die.
They run out of the bathroom.
Axel's been in the closet the whole
God
time.
damn it! So yeah, so play. It's so Anything Goes is the song by Guns N' Roses, possibly stolen riff. I feel like they heard Raining Blood and they're like, what if we made that a dickhead bop?
What if that made the end of our shitty song good?
And he doesn't do it well. That's what I'm saying. Like Slash
he bounces it for the song.
Slash plays Slash songs well. He doesn't like that's him obviously trying to play fucking Slayer. And if you disagree, suck my dick.
It's like the same two notes.
Yeah.
I would say benefit of the doubt, he heard Slayer and did that and didn't realize he did it, but I mean regardless he did it.
It's on the same record label and it's published not even a full calendar year after the other one. Like that's what I'm saying is like it's kind of like one of those things where either somebody, I don't know, somebody may at that record company, and this is just alleged. I don't want anybody getting on me.
No smoke.
Somebody may have been on drugs there.
What?
At least one or two people at that record
Shut your goddamn mouth.
company. I'm pretty sure.
Take that back.
No, I'm saying
Take it back.
because people, not just the bands are doing drugs. So ultimately, I'll say Appetite for Destruction gets it's a fine album. It's all right. It is not influential. If somebody was influenced by that album, you're probably in fucking rehab right now. If you love that album, if that's your pinnacle of music, you are a clear case of nostalgic recall. That is what you are. You're going. This. It's the time that came out. Your life. Ruled.
Yeah. It's
when you
very
first heard that
dated.
it came out. But if you're listening to, that's what I'm saying. If you're listening to Slayer, like I'm not thinking even back to the time that I first heard Slayer and going like, I'm just like, damn, this fucking album rips. It doesn't go too much beyond that. It's just like, and then when you find out it came out a full year before this, and then they're still being claimed as the most dangerous band in the world, and you're like,
yeah, dude, I gotta be honest. Like,
suck my dick. They're just unreliable addicts.
Well, and also too, they kind of sell Appetite for Destruction way more as like a guitar rock song, a guitar rock album.
Yeah.
And I was like, honestly, like listening through it, it's crazy how every time I heard it, I just pictured like you and me, we were on a road trip and we had to stop at like a Hard Rock Cafe. Yeah. And this was the band playing there.
Yeah.
And I just imagined a bunch of like
They're bar
moms,
bands.
like a bunch of moms and dads wearing their like going out outfit. Like, just like that's the first time they got drunk that much.
Yeah.
That month. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's the first time they got drunk that month. And they were just like being a little bit too much and shit. I was like, none of it felt cool. It was just, I was shocked at how little riffs there were. I
Yeah.
thought there would have been way more riffs on that album.
And one of the riffs, like still near the end of the album, all this other stuff is
Yeah.
possibly one of the most iconic riffs written a year
Oh,
before.
and also, yeah, exactly.
Boom,
And
bam, 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 bam. And he's just like, man, that fucking rules, brother. I wouldn't even perfect that at all. That's exactly perfect how that is.
and
That's the white guy producing it doing cocaine.
I was shocked. Like I said before, Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, and Paradise City, they both hold up.
Yeah.
I was shocked that nothing outside of that held up.
Nothing.
Like I thought there was gonna be like 2 or 3 songs outside of that that'd be like, oh, but no one talks about this one.
All the blurriness they took out of Slayer, they jam-packed into the drum set of this
forced.
band. Like,
Yeah.
how much reverb is on the boom, pow, boom, pow. It's just
Yeah.
like this, like, it doesn't sound better that way. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound, that would be, I would like to see now that we've done the reviews,
Oh yes.
we've contacted both bands and we let them know to record each other's albums, and we would find out how Slayer would record Appetite for Destruction and how Guns N' Roses would do Rain and Blood.
Oh, dude, the jumbled
Butcher, baby.
the You're in Auschwitz.
You're gonna
Yeah.
that's what we need. We'll do that.
So wait, what are we? Okay.
Axel, you know what to do.
Damn, this was a great success.
Yeah.
What do we? I'm so excited for next week now.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you want to do?
I don't know. I picked the theme.
Let
What's an album you think I should listen to?
me think.
What's like an album you really like that you, or any album, an album you think would be funny for me to listen to, or an album you like that you go, oh, Andy's got to hear this.
I
I like that.
What about think it's called Dangerous by Michael Jackson.
By Michael Jackson.
I think yeah. Is that Dangerous? I think if it's Dangerous.
You mean Thriller?
No. Nope, Dangerous. This one. 1991.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Why that one?
Because you're surprised. I think this is a banger album.
I'm just so curious what that means to you.
You mentioned playing songs on. This is actually how I got there. You mentioned playing songs on cassette earlier, and this I remember being an album early on that I had on cassette that I remember listening to nonstop and loving.
We doing cassette songs?
Yeah, we'll do cassette songs.
Cassette
albums.
I think this one might be if we do cassette bums.
Cassette bumps?
This might be in the same time period.
Oh, that would be perfect.
I hope it is.
1991 Jam. Jam is what it starts out with. It was released on November 13th, 1991. And it is not Thriller, and it's not Off the Wall, but it's that's the best way to describe this Michael Jackson album. Not those two, but I swear to God, I think there's some real fucking bangers on this album, and I would like to learn more about it because it's also, if I remember correctly, a continuation of his like theatrical, like how he's doing like an album and then like movies and weird shit with it. But you don't have to go that deep if you don't want, And it's not Thriller. And also, I was going to go History, but that's like a 2-disc album set. Also, Bad was really good, too. Damn. It might be. I think it holds up in those. There's Bad, Thriller. What was the other one I just said? Off the Wall. Some of those classics from Michael Jackson. I think this is on par with all of those.
I was going to have one, but I can't find it on Spotify.
Uh-oh. That sucks. What's the? Do you know the artist?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Oh.
But I can't. I don't. Oh,
So,
wait. Actually, it
Will
might
Smith,
be under
yeah.
that on Spotify.
Okay, yeah. What is it? DJ
Jazzy Jeff. Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, boy. Is it?
Yeah, it
Home
is.
Base? Code Red?
Wait, where is it? I just saw it. Where the fuck is it?
Which one?
Oh.
Greatest Hits?
Yeah, it was I had the greatest hits.
Oh, 1997, that one?
Yeah. Greatest hits.
Okay.
That's what I don't even know if I had that on cassette.
Girls Ain't
actually.
Nothing But Trouble.
That was just the first one that popped into my head.
So Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince Greatest Hits compilation 1998. Not far. I'll take that. We're gonna go hip hop, guys, and R&B.
Does that work for you?
I fucking love it.
Is that a good pick?
I think that's a great pick because
I don't even know if I
fucks with Will Smith, in just as far as his politics and crowd work.
Crowd work.
And his religion. No, I think it's overall. I think it's within it's 90s hip hop adjusting. The Greatest Hits is my favorite part because I'm gonna get the whole feel of also like the nostalgia of like listening to that that album Dangerous. I remember specifically listening to like non-stop.
Yeah, and so this is why this popped into my head because I'm pretty sure I had it on cassette. But even if I didn't, I listened to this over and over and over again as a kid.
One, right?
Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah.
I listened to that over and over and over. So, yeah.
That was I don't know why, but that's where my mind went, and I was either gonna go Footloose soundtrack or those are the two things on cassette that I fucking like. I almost like wore out.
I got a good soundtrack one too. If we eventually do that one.
Well, we don't know where the next one might lead us.
Okay, so this is
I had no fucking idea it was gonna lead us here.
This is a good pairing because, like I said, it might not have been on cassette, but the way you were talking about listening to it, I had a very similar experience with mine.
Yeah, I'll take that.
And it's so the Greatest Hits came out in 97 or 98, but the music's from a similar time period.
Yeah, so even if that's like it's from even like late 80s to like mid 90s.
I will say going forward, we don't have to stick strictly to this. Same time period might be smart.
Yeah, well, we're going 90s. Mine's more early 90s, I think, but it's also I don't think he put out another one until like later on. In maybe late 90s, but Dangerous to me just reminded me of that, and I think there's going to be a lot of like the same musical elements in both of our choices.
Well, there's also. Have you heard the Michael Jackson conspiracy?
He's still alive.
Yeah.
That he's whatever. What was that guy? Bud or Judd or
I don't know.
Jing Jung?
No, they're. Oh, this is right after Bad. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Nice. I might listen to Thriller, Bad, and this just to get a good context.
Yeah, and actually compare because that's my ultimate statement is saying like I think these hold up the same. Obviously, it's not going to be Thriller.
Well, if it's gonna be the album right after the two biggest Michael Jackson albums,
Right.
I feel like it's actually important to listen to those as well.
Yeah.
No, there's a Michael Jackson song, and I hate to bring up the Jews again, but there's a Michael Jackson song where in the middle of it he just comes for the Jews pretty aggressively, and that coincides with his downfall. So people have a lot of theories on it.
Interesting.
And I will be only talking about that.
That's it. I'm not even talking about the album at all.
You know what's dangerous?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We love you. Bye bye.
God bless.